You're in the middle of a crucial presentation, and suddenly your connection drops. An agonizing lag happened to me recently, prompting an immediate network upgrade. But searching for a Wi-Fi 7 router is a nightmare of confusing marketing jargon, insane price tags, and overhyped features. How do you know if you actually need multi-link operation or a 320 MHz channel? To save you the headache and buyer's remorse, I bought and tested the most popular Wi-Fi 7 router on the market right now. Today, I am ranking them from 7 down to 1. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which router solves your dead zones, and a number 1 pick might genuinely shock you. 7. GL.iNet GL-BE9300. When I first pulled this out of the box, I was genuinely intrigued by its compact footprint and the promise of tri-band, high-speed wireless connectivity on the latest Wi-Fi 7 standard. It boasts the BE9300 architecture, which theoretically means you're getting a massive hike for data across the 2.4, 5, and 6 GHz bands. Setting it up in my test environment was fairly straightforward, utilizing the familiar open WRT-based interface that power users have come to love from GL.iNet. It offers a lot of tweaking potential, which is always fun when you first dive into a new piece of networking hardware. However, once I started putting it through rigorous daily use, the shine began to wear off rapidly. The router features a 2.5 gigabit WAN port and multiple gigabit LAN ports, which sounds great on paper, but I consistently found the routing performance struggling when multiple high bandwidth devices hit the network simultaneously. I loaded up a few 4K streams and initiated a massive game download on my PC, and the prioritization engine simply could not keep the latency stable. It felt like the hardware was choking under the weight of a busy smart home, which completely defeats the purpose of upgrading to a Wi-Fi 7 ecosystem designed to handle dense network traffic. Another frustrating aspect I discovered during my week of testing is the range and signal penetration. My house has a few brick walls and a multi-story layout, which is the ultimate test for the 6 GHz band. Unfortunately, the GL-BE9300 dropped the 6 GHz connection much closer to the router than almost any other unit on this list. Unless you're in the exact same room or maintain a direct line of sight, your devices are going to be kicked down to the 5 GHz band, negating the ultra-fast speeds you paid a premium for. 6. Amazon Eero 7. The Eero lineup has always been famous for its dead simple setup and aesthetically pleasing design, and this unit is no exception. Pulling the Eero 7 from its packaging, I was immediately struck by its clean, modern tower look that blends effortlessly into a living room without looking like a scary robotic spider. The initial setup process through the Eero app took me less than 5 minutes. It guided me through every single step flawlessly, quickly establishing a network that promised to leverage Wi-Fi 7's multi-link operation to keep all my devices seamlessly connected. For basic web browsing and streaming a movie in the living room, the performance is perfectly adequate. The inclusion of two 10 gigabit and two 2.5 gigabit Ethernet ports is a massive leap forward for wired backhaul or connecting high-speed and network drives. When I tested the wired throughput, it was absolutely blazing, saturating my multi-gigabit internet connection with zero effort. The roaming between nodes, if you decide to buy a multi-pack, is also incredibly smooth, ensuring that your video calls don't drop as you walk from the kitchen to the home office. But here is where things start to fall apart for me during practical, everyday use. Amazon's walled garden approach to networking is incredibly frustrating if you want even a modicum of control over your own hardware. The app hides almost all advanced settings behind a simplified interface, and worse, essential features like advanced parental controls, historical data usage, and network security metrics are locked behind a recurring Eero Plus subscription fee. Paying a premium price for the router hardware only to be hit with a monthly bill just to see which device is hogging your bandwidth is a bitter pill to swallow, and it severely damaged my overall experience. Furthermore, while testing the wireless throughput on the 6 GHz band, the speeds were wildly inconsistent depending on the client device. 5. TP-Link Archer B550. Right away, this router feels like the sweet spot for folks who want to dip their toes into the Wi-Fi 7 waters without completely emptying their bank accounts. When I set this up, I appreciated the unique, somewhat futuristic V-shaped design that acts as a natural heat vent. It is a tri-band router boasting 9.2 gigabits per second of total bandwidth, and importantly, It features 5 2.5 gigabit ports. This alone makes it incredibly versatile for anyone running a robust wired home network alongside their wireless devices. During my real-world testing, the Rapture BE9300 handled a heavily congested environment with surprising grace. I deliberately overloaded the network with a 4K streaming TV, 2 teenagers playing competitive online games, and a massive cloud backup running on my main workstation. Thanks to multi-link operation, which allows client devices to send and receive data across different frequency bands simultaneously, the latency remained impressively low. My gaming sessions felt incredibly responsive, and not once did the 4K stream buffer or drop its resolution, proving that TP-Link's internal traffic management is doing exactly what it is supposed to do. One of my favorite things about the Rapture BE9300 is the TP-Link Tether app. Unlike the restrictive ecosystem we just talked about, this app gives you a fantastic balance of user-friendly navigation and deep advanced settings for free. I was easily able to set up a dedicated IoT network for all my smart bulbs and security cameras, keeping them entirely segregated from my main computers and phones. This is a massive security benefit and something I always look for. I noticed that the absolute maximum range isn't quite enough to blanket a very large, sprawling property. But for a standard 3-bedroom home, the coverage is incredibly solid and reliable. 4. NETGEAR Nighthawk BE9300. NETGEAR has always embraced an aggressive, stealth fighter aesthetic for their Nighthawk line, and this iteration continues that tradition with its sleek, angular chassis. But it is not just about looks. The internal hardware is an absolute powerhouse. Setting this up was a breeze using the Nighthawk app, and within minutes, I had access to a tri-band network that promised to deliver massive data rates to every corner of my testing environment. The standout feature during my hands-on evaluation was the raw speed achievable on the 6 GHz band. I paired this router with a high-end Wi-Fi 7 laptop and transferred a massive 100 GB folder of raw video files across my local network. The transfer completed in a fraction of the time it took on older protocols, completely saturating the connection and showcasing the true power of the 320 MHz channel bandwidth. The Nighthawk BE9300 cuts through interference effortlessly, providing a pristine, interference-free lane for your most demanding devices, which is an absolute game changer for content creators or remote workers handling large files. NETGEAR has also done an exceptional job with signal propagation. The internal antennas are engineered to push the signal through walls and floors far better than the previous router on this list. I walked out to my backyard patio, a notorious dead zone in my house, and I was still able to pull hundreds of megabits per second on my smartphone. This means you can comfortably stream high-definition music, or even take a Zoom call outside without worrying about the signal completely dropping out. The stability of the connection, even at the very edge of the coverage map, was highly impressive. While the hardware performance is spectacular, you should be aware that NETGEAR heavily pushes its NETGEAR Armor security subscription during the setup process and within the app. 3. ASUS OOG Rapture GT-BE9800. If you are a serious gamer or an extreme power user, this router is basically the holy grail of networking hardware. Visually, it is an intimidating piece of technology with 8 massive external antennas and aggressive styling that makes it look like an alien artifact. It is a quad-band Wi-Fi 7 router, which provides a frankly ridiculous amount of bandwidth. When I plugged this monster in, I knew I had to throw absolutely everything I had at it just to see if it would even break a sweat. The gaming performance on the GT-BE9800 is nothing short of revolutionary. ASUS includes a dedicated gaming port that automatically prioritizes whatever device is plugged into it, ensuring zero packet loss and the absolute lowest ping possible. I spent a weekend playing competitive, fast-paced shooters, and the hit registration felt noticeably crisper compared to standard router. Furthermore, the ASUS WRT software is a masterclass in network management. It includes triple-level game acceleration, allowing you to prioritize traffic from your device to the router and all the way to the game server. I also spent considerable time testing the insane port selection on the back. It features dual 10 gigabit ports and 4 2.5 gigabit ports. I connected my primary editing rig and my high-speed network attached storage to the 10 gigabit ports, and the local file transfer speeds were identical to having the hard drives physically installed inside my computer. The sheer routing capacity of the internal quad-core processor means that no matter how many devices are pulling data, the router never slows down. It handles gigantic bursts of traffic with total ease. The only reason this absolute powerhouse isn't higher on the list is simply its massive footprint and premium price tag, which might be overkill for the average household. It requires a lot of desk space and a hefty investment. 2. TP-Link Archer BE230. Now you might be wondering how a more budget-friendly router beat out the massive ASUS gaming rig. The answer is simple: unparalleled value and real-world practicality. When I unboxed the BE230, I was struck by its traditional, unassuming design. It does not look like a spaceship, it just looks like a standard piece of home networking gear. But underneath that humble exterior lies a highly optimized dual-band Wi-Fi 7 system that brings the latest wireless technology to a price point that almost anyone can afford. What shocked me the most during my testing was how efficiently it utilized the 2.4 and 5 GHz bands using Wi-Fi 7's multi-link operation. Even without the ultra-wide 6 GHz band, the B230 managed to drastically lower latency and increase overall throughput for my compatible devices. I set this up in a dense apartment building where the airwaves are incredibly crowded with neighboring networks. Thanks to the advanced preamble puncturing technology native to Wi-Fi 7, the router was able to carve out clear channels through the interference, providing me with a rock-solid connection where older router usually stumbled. The inclusion of dual 2.5 gigabit WAN and LAN ports at this tier is a massive win for consumers. It means you can actually take full advantage of multi-gigabit fiber internet plans without bottlenecking at the router itself. I found the setup process just as intuitive as the more expensive TP-Link models, utilizing the same excellent app interface. For families, the built-in Home Shield features provide excellent baseline parental controls, allowing me to easily set bedtimes and pause the internet on specific devices with just a tap on my smartphone. 1. TP-Link Deco 7 Pro. After weeks of testing single-unit router, switching to this Wi-Fi 7 mesh system completely changed my perspective on what a home network should feel like. The unboxing experience feels premium, and the sleek, cylindrical white nodes are designed to be placed out in the open rather than hidden in a closet. When I deployed a 2-node system across my property, the setup via the Deco app was entirely automated, seamlessly linking the units together to form a massive, invisible canopy of ultra-fast internet. The sheer performance of the Deco 7 Pro is breathtaking. By utilizing the 6 GHz band as a dedicated wireless backhaul between the nodes, the system ensures that you get gigabit speeds regardless of which node you are connected to. I walked from my basement studio all the way up to the second floor master bedroom while on a live 4K video call. The handoff between the router was so instantaneous and smooth that the video didn't stutter for even a microsecond. This is the true promise of Wi-Fi 7 mesh networking, eliminating every single dead zone with absolute authority. Beyond the flawless wireless coverage, the wired connectivity on these nodes is outstanding. The units are equipped with auto-sensing 10 gigabit and 2.5 gigabit ports. This allowed me to plug my desktop PC directly into the satellite node in my office and achieve multi-gigabit speeds as if I were hardwired directly to the main modem downstairs. It completely eliminates the need to run expensive Ethernet cables through your walls. The system handles dozens of simultaneous smart home devices, streaming boxes, and laptops without showing the slightest hint of network congestion. Final thought. That's all for today.